Good morning, students. Thank you for coming to this instructional session. This is our second instructional session in week 1. So after today, we will not have another meeting until next week. Today we'll be talking about grading and scoring, email etiquette, turning in files, attendance, and subscribing to Remind. Let's talk about grading and scoring. Students have turned in work that varies significantly and ranges significantly in quality. So here's some guidelines to help you earn your highest possible score. Please watch your spelling and grammar. If you do something in Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or any of those types of programs, there are built-in spell checks, so please make sure to run those. Also, make sure that you answer the entire question, including any multiple parts. For example, if a question asks you for 2 examples of something, make sure that you provide 2 different examples instead of just giving me 1 example. Make sure your answers are thoughtful and thorough, and I can tell that you put in effort in order to answer the question instead of rushing through just to be done. Here's how you earn a different range of scores. So a 5 would be half credit, and this is when a student provides only half of what was required to answer the question. A 6 is minimal effort, the answer is partial, and there's more than a few spelling and grammar errors. There may be so many spelling and grammar errors that it's difficult for me to understand, even as a language arts teacher. A 7 would be also minimal effort, but the answer's provided, and there's few spelling and grammar errors, but still it's comprehensible and I can understand it. An 8 is an average answer with average effort. There's very few spelling and grammar errors. Most students fall into this range. A 9 is a better answer. It's more detailed than an 8, and it's good effort. There's no spelling and grammar errors, or very few, maybe just 1 or 2. And a 10 is an exceptional answer. It's extremely detailed, full effort, no spelling and grammar errors. I can really tell that the student took not a long time, but took long enough to answer the question that they felt that they answered it thoroughly and to the best of their ability. Email and phone etiquette. This is really important, and this is something that you should apply not only to my class, but to all of your classes in summer school and beyond. Even in your professional lives sometime down the line. It's customary to start off an email with good afternoon, good morning, hi, how are you, or some other kind or standard greeting. You don't want to just start out with some demanding question. That kind of puts the person receiving an email in an awkward position. It makes them feel kind of offset as they're reading your email. Address the person you're speaking to by their proper name. I've had quite a few students email me calling me by my first name, and this is kind of a no-no. Teachers should be addressed as Mr., Mrs., Miss, or possibly even professor or doctor, but never by their first name. This is a sign of respect. Watch the tone of your email. Starting out with a demanding tone will make the person receiving your email feel attacked. If you come off politely, they're more likely to want to help you and to want to help you quickly. Make sure you say please and thank you when you get a response. Some other points that I always discuss with my students. Do not use exclamation points in an email unless you're happily exclaiming something. Otherwise, it seems as if you're yelling at the person that you're talking to. And do not use multiple question marks in an email, ever. It makes it seem, again, like you're being too demanding. 1 question mark is enough, and that denotes that you have a question. 3 question marks means give me an answer right now. Be patient as you wait for a reply. I usually reply within an hour or 2, but in the evenings it may take longer, and I do have a family, so at some point in the evenings I do stop answering emails, but I will begin answering emails again early in the morning. Okay, turning in files. Both on the teacher end and on the student end, there have been issues with turning in files in SmartFox. So for now, our fix will be this. If you do an assignment in SmartFox that requires you to upload a file, please do the following. Type file emailed in the response box, and then email me a copy of the file. Because I cannot open files due to some sort of server error, so I cannot grade them. in SmartVox if they're only uploaded. And the reason for this is because there's no option for me to go in and manually enter grades if a student hasn't submitted at least something in that response box. So that's why you type file emailed in the response box, so at least I can go in and manually change your score once I receive the email with the file in it. Attendance. Okay, so remember for day 1, students are not marked absent due to technical issues. For day 2, you should have been able to get on and work at least part of the day. So do your best to get caught up from day 1. And I've received a lot of questions about this, even though we talked about it in our first meeting. So I just want to reiterate, if you cannot make instructional meetings, remember that you are required to watch the YouTube video of my session, which will be emailed to all students, but it would be smart to subscribe to my channel too. That way you can just go in whenever there's a new video and watch it. You don't have to wait for an email. Then email me the notes that you took about the session so I can see that you took the time to view it. It's really important, and it fulfills that communication requirement that you have as a student in an online program. Remind. I've only had a handful of students add my class to Remind, so please add my class on Remind. Remind is the easiest and quickest way to get a hold of me. In fact, when you send me a message on Remind, it pops up in the corner of my computer and on my phone, and I can reply to it in a lot of different ways. So it can be through a text message or through an email or through the Remind site. So it's very, very versatile. Remind codes are included in your welcome letter, so please make sure that you reference that when you go to add me on Remind. Psychology students, please make sure you only use the code A, not B, because they didn't code this class as A or B. Okay, and with that, if you have a question about the content or about procedures, please type it in the chat box and I'll answer them one at a time like we did last time. If you don't have any questions, you're free to leave at this time. So thank you for your time, students, and I look forward to answering any questions that you have. If you don't have a question, I will see you next time, but please send me Remind messages in the meantime.